Today I've got a bunch of single cards that I purchased from SCD down in Plymouth. I spent some time flicking through their binders as well as admiring some of their vintage sets, but they equally had a bunch of slabs available as well from all sorts of different sellers like PSA and Ace, just to name a few, as well as a bunch of raw cards as well that were sort of stacked up in a vertical stand here that you can see, which we actually do make a purchase from as well. We actually make two purchases, one from this vertical and this one over here as well. See if you can let me know in the comments down below which one it is ahead of time. But we picked up then also a bunch of singular cards which they had in these cardboard boxes on the top here. You can see me flicking through them now, and they were very cheap, about 25p or a deal, 5 for £1, roughly around that mark. And I wanted to try and grab some cards to fill out the Pokedex, knock off a few of the sort of empty slots that I've still got in there. And I just picked up a few, wasn't expecting to actually pop into this store, but we randomly decided to pop in on our way home from doing some shopping throughout the day. Shout out to my wife doing the camera work for me. But Andy in there was amazing, really helpful, as well as just really great to talk to as well. So shout out to him. And let's go home now and take a look at what cards we've got, as well as some WhatNot cards as well that I've yet to add to the binder. Okay, so just as a heads up, this video has got way out of control compared to last time. We're now at 100 cards. We've got loads to get through. We've got new additions to the Pokedex Binder. We've got upgrades to the Pokedex Binder, which by the way is this series where I'm collecting one of every Pokemon in the Pokedex. And we're going to be starting 3 artist series, one of which I've created a whole new binder for. Anyway, let's not waste any more time. The first card we're going to be looking at is the Pikachu from Celebrations. This to me encapsulates a little bit of like modern and vintage for me. The fact that we have the original artwork extended to fill out the whole of the scene. I love this card, and to be honest with you, I really want this in an Ace 10. That would be awesome. By the way, spot the little Caterpie as well, just up in the top right corner there. It's not going to focus. By the way, I'm using my phone today rather than my camera. Anyway, let's move that one off to the side for just a moment. The next one up is Rapidash, and this is from Heatwave Arena. The colors on this card are beautiful. Next up, we are going to go straight through this pile. We've got Poliwhirl from 151. There's going to be a mix, of course, of English and Japanese in here. I love this artwork. I would love it in both English and Japanese. That's going to be a great addition to the binder. Up next, we've got a Butterfree VMAX. Now, I actually won this as a giveaway on WhatNot. So sometimes when you are buying lots of cards, you can go ahead and be entered into buyers giveaways, and usually there's a nice card. By the way, use the link in the description down below and you might be able to actually get yourself some free credit. I will also, if you use the link in the description down below, and then you can use that to buy some cards on WhatNot for free. So use the link in the description down below. Next up, we have Marill. Again, a really cool artwork. Always a huge fan of when there's multiple Pokemon in the scene. Look at all the love discs at the back there as well. Awesome artwork. I'm going to try my best to be a bit quick with this, but we've got the Scizor. This is fantastic. I love the sort of just red color scheme to this card on its own. Beautiful. Up next, we have got, well, every time I used to see this on WhatNot, I was like, there's nothing here. And I don't mean to sort of be too punny, etc., or kind of, you know, play along to the actual design of the card. But the Sudowoodo there hiding on the side, it blends in so well that when you're watching someone on WhatNot like this, it's really hard to try and find it. It's a great card. We then have the Ditto card, because Ditto here is hiding in the field with the Nubbles, I believe. Lovely card. I love a Ditto card, and this one's really cool. The fact it just blends in with an environment, and it's a illustration wrap. Let's move on. We've got Walking Wake EX. Great card. I quite like the Pokemon. It's not as good as the original, without any doubt at all, but a nice little addition. Up next, we've got the Manaphy. Again, huge fan of when there's multiple Pokemon in a scene. We've got all of the Pokemon around the outside and just splashing around in the center. The holo's fantastic. Great card, that one. Up next, we've got Wugtrio. Again, just a really cool artwork. I always love an illustration rare, as you can obviously tell. Beautiful. Let's move on. We've got Kyogre V, huge fan. Can still, to this day, not really sort of decide if I'm a Groudon or Kyogre fan. I played the games as a kid relentlessly, so I just have a love for both, I think, and nostalgia probably. After that, we've got Palafin. Now, I've got Palafin multiple times, but this card with its kind of dark sort of underwatery vibe is absolutely awesome. There's just a little bit of kickback of some light coming up from in behind, and there's also multiple Pokemon within there as well. They're just very, very dark. Up next, we have Titan. Great card, really love the illustration on this one. Let's carry on. We've got Dondoza, I believe, and then we've got the Tatsugiri there just staring up at him. What a card. That's almost sort of rocking the same kind of vibe as the Arceus, the origin form, I believe, of Palkia and Dialga as well. It's just got that kind of vibe to it. Really cool. And there's a Stunfisk just there that is just getting thrown about in the air. Up next, we've got Crabominable, I believe. What a card this is. Look how cool it is with just it's like clean, just all round kind of white, minimalistic design to it. And the shine on that holo is beautiful. Up next, well, we'll do two at a time then, seeing as we've flipped them. We've got the Slack Off, and we've got just chilling in the field, just really cool artwork. And the Clobicus, I believe it is, and that is really important for later on in the video. We've then got Snom. This is equally very important for later on in the video. But look at this one. This one's just got that kind of almost, it's like hyper realistic render to it. Really cool. God, we're getting through them now. We've got Beware. Just a really sus card, that one. No one really liked it, but I think it's really cool. We've got Feebas. This is part of a two-piece illustration. If I move this one down to the bottom, you'll be able to see the card above, and it kind of blends in with the two. They're part of a sort of a matching set. And then we've got the Solrock. Again, multiple Pokemon, just a really cool one. And I picked this one up because I also wanted the Lunatone, I believe it is, in there as well alongside. And they kind of look like they're part of one big set when you put them side by side. Let's put them off to one side. We've got two more, I believe, left to go. We've then got Reniclus, I believe it is. Either way, this artwork is so cool, just bobbing along on the water. The green and the 3D and the shine of all of it just looks so cool. And the final card from this stack is Starly. And again, that's going to be quite important. So let's go ahead and get these ones quickly into the binder before we look at the rest of the other ones that I equally bought from SCD. So as we typically do, we take a look at what entry is currently in the Pokedex. We've got a bunch of empty spaces here, and the Pikachu that we picked up today is going to go in. I'm going to be upgrading Pikachu's entry. I'm going to slide out this one from Surging Sparks, and we'll slide in the new edition. So that, well, it's not a new edition, it's an upgrade. We then have the Rapidash. That's going to be an upgrade. I'm going to be sliding out this uncommon and sliding in the new card. That is a beautiful card. And if we then go ahead and move to the left hand side, we've got Poliwhirl. That's going to go in, and that is going to be a new addition. We're then back on page one because we're going to need to pop in the Butterfree. So that's another upgrade to the binder. The Marill is going to be a lovely upgrade. The Sizzle is an upgrade. We're going to be upgrading Sudowoodo. Walking Wake is in at 1009. Manaphy is going to be upgraded. Wugtrio gets the upgrade treatment as well. 382 will now be Kyogre. Palafin is an upgrade. And then if we move down the page, we've then got Titan, and that is going to be a new addition at 975. Dondozo is going to be an upgrade. Crabominable is just stunning, but that is a new addition at 740. Slackoth is an upgrade. Clobopus is in at 852. Snom goes in at 872. At 760, we've got Beware. Feebas is an upgrade. And then if we go up the page, Lunatone is in, and Solrock just beside it gets an upgrade. Reniclus is in at 579. I've definitely butchered the name, but either way the artwork's sick. And then finally we have Starly, which is going to be an upgrade. And this is important because we need this card for the second part of this video. So I'm going to pop that to one side. We're going to slide in the new Starly one in front of its paper insert. And that's all the cards that we got from WhatNot. Okay, so stack number 2. These are all from SCD down in Plymouth. Great staff in there. If you're ever in the area, please pop in and say hello. They're great, and there's loads to look at. And I was flicking through all of the bulk to try and find some just to tick off a few missing entries in the Pokedex binder. The first one though is one from the sort of vertical case, and that is the Wu Chen. This artwork is so cool. There's so much texture and shine in it. Beautiful, beautiful piece there. This one then came in this really nice sleeve, which is part of a set obviously, and then that is the Cleavor. This is just a really cool, I love it with the trainers in there. Big fan of that always. And then we're just going to start rocking into just a few kind of regular holos. We've got Gouging Fire. We then move on into Raichu. We then move into Marowak, and a lot of these are now going to kind of fall into that 151 era because they're all the ones I kind of wanted to try and fill out a little bit more towards the beginning of the Pokedex binder. Marowak, we've got the Vileplume, we've got Electrode, Horsey, and we then have its evolution as well. Of course, there's an illustration rare of Horsey, which we'll try to pick up at some point. These are literally just fillers now at this point. We've got a Squirtle to put in, we've got a Pidgeotto, Lapras, Dugtrio, Raticate, which I would love to get the illustration rare from the Glory of Team Rocket set when that comes out in English, or I'll get it in Japanese, either. We've then got Dragonair, Murkrow, and that is the Trick or Treat, I believe, set. And then we've got Miss Magius, and then the final one there is Ducklet. So equally, let's get these into the Pokedex binder before we move into some of the other projects that we're going to be looking at. So we're going to carry on in the same fashion where Wu-Chen is going to be an upgrade. Now Cleavelaw is in a bit of a matte kind of sleeve, goes in at 900, and if we take a look down, that's a column.
Bingo.
Gouging Fire is a new addition at 1020. Raichu at 26. Marowak will be an upgrade. Vileplume will be a new addition alongside its pre-evolutions at 45. Electrode will equally be a new addition at 101. And again, if we take a look up and we take a look down, that's a column.
Bingo.
Horsey goes in at 116. And Seadra gets one of those mini upgrades where this is an uncommon, then this is a common, so we're going to upgrade that. First page, and we're at number 7 because we're going to be adding in Squirtle. Pidgeot's in at 17. Dugtrio's in at 51. Lapras at 131. Raticate's in at 20. Dragonair at 148. Some of these sleeves are a little bit too large. Now Murkrow probably gets the most minor upgrade I could possibly do. We're going to be adding a little stamp to the side of it. And without any planning, Miss Magius would have equally been exactly the same situation. However, this is a reverse holo, so this actually remains because it's the higher rarity. So I've just overbought, should I say. So this one's just going to go in with the bulk. And Ducklet rounds this off at 580. Now that, of course, is not the end of the story because I've got loads more cards that we're going to quickly take a look at now. Now I've got them split up into 2 piles because part of this new series I'm going to be putting together, some of them actually need to go into the Pokedex binder first because they are currently entries in the Pokedex binder that don't have a card in it. So what are they? Well, if we flip over this pile, they are Yukimori artworks, and I've got loads of them. Now Yukimori makes these amazing models, and they currently have 3 illustration rares, I mean full art kind of designs, one of which is the Apom. And then most of the other ones are sort of standard kind of boxed in artwork cards. This one is, as you'll be able to see, a reverse holo, and this is actually a really pretty card as well. So a lot of them have regular versions, and they also have a reverse holo as well. So there's usually 2 to pick up per one. For example, Magnemite again, Magneton, and then I've got loads of those kind of examples, and I've even got more on the way, and we've got loads here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick through all of these quickly, and we're going to get them into a second binder that I've got. So this is the second binder. Shout out to VaultX. Please work with me if you want to. Let's flick this open because on the first page I've actually set it up with a few kind of, they're like placeholders. We've got a nice little Yukimori one because we've got 3 illustration rare style cards to add in here. I wanted to add some placeholders. Now of course I've already got one of them, and that is going to be the Apom, so that is going to go in and actually replace that. I'll probably swap out the placeholder, but you get the idea. And then I'm just going to lay out the whole rest of the other pages however I feel like it. Now earlier on, I said it was important to get Snom in because Snom didn't have an entry in my Pokedex binder, as you'll have already been able to see. So I needed something else so that I could keep this one here in this binder. So that is exactly why we have this one now available. Equally, the Starly as well. Now Lillipup is a shame because I actually have both the regular and the reverse holo, but the reverse holo is in the other pile. So this is sadly going to be on its own until we get a Lillipup card so we can swap that out the Pokedex and put it back in here. So that's a look at the pages. Feel free to pause if you want to take a look at them entered currently. Where you see the gaps, that's the regular, that'll be the reverse holo, regular, reverse holo. And then in other examples, we've already got both of them set up. So that's just going to be another series that as I'm going through and collecting cards, I can build up. Now there's a lot of empty spaces because we are going to move into another artist in just a sec. However, if we take a look at these cards, these are all Yukamoris as well, but they all need to go into the Pokedex binder, as I said, because there's no entries for these Pokemon so far. So I need to find other cards for all of these. So Sandshrews in at 27, Tynamo at 602, Pumpkaboo at 710, Woobat at 527, Solandir is in at 757, Lillipup at 506, 449 is Hippopotas, Dedenne is in at 702, Sinistea is in at 854, 833 is Chewtle, Tailow's in at 276, 597 is the Ferroseed, and finally Shieldon is in at 410. Now the next artist we're going to be looking at is related to this card because I want to get this card out of the Pokedex binder. Yes, I know I'm going against the rules, this is technically a downgrade, but it's my series, so we're going to go ahead and swap it out. So if we then take a look, we've now got the regular and the reverse holo plus a Swirlix for another artist that I'm going to collect, and that is Asaka Ito, who makes these, again, amazing artworks made out of crochet. There's a few more of these dotted around the Pokedex, but these three are going to go into my artist binder, which is what I'm going to refer to this as. Yes, it's a Yukamori. As Yukamori cards and the more and more I get of them start to build up, we'll have to move these out probably into their own binder. But that's not the end of it. We've still got one more artist to take a look at. And the next artist we're looking at is Shinji Kanda, with the exception of the Jinxes. I mean, just look at the Kecleon on its own. Absolutely amazing, and we've picked up quite a few, so we're just going to simply go ahead and just chuck these into the binder, and then as time goes on we can just keep filling this out. The more and more packs that I open, we're probably going to get more and more of these, so we can just add it into the binder. Now the only exception is this Aerodactyl, because Aerodactyl I don't have in the Pokedex, so this one equally needs to go into the Pokedex, and that is going to go in at 142, and again hopefully we get another Aerodactyl and we can pull this out of this binder. So that's a pretty monstrous episode. We end this episode now with the Pokedex sitting at 521 entries now. Loads of new entries. Like I said, a monstrous episode with how many. And I hope you just enjoy understanding what I'm doing then with the rest of the cards in terms of the bulk, or the cards that don't quite make it in or get upgraded. What else can we do with them? And there's loads of different styles of kind of collections that you can equally do with your cards. Collect an artist, collect just a singular Pokemon, loads and loads of different ideas, just colors, types, cute, fiery, dark, whatever you want to do. Just a few ideas. Hopefully it inspires you to take a look back through your bulk. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the future episodes as we continue to upgrade the Pokedex binder. I know a lot of you are not subscribed, and I know your videos, and I know my videos go ahead and land on your home screen, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.